just started very recently. I currently, like last week, just signed on with First Choice Business Brokers in Orange County. And so working right now, learning as much as possible, and just trying to take in as much as possible. But yeah, spent a lot of time running businesses myself and creating, kind of an infrastructure. And I think this is just kind of the next step for what I want in my career. And I just want to learn from you guys. I watched a couple of your videos on YouTube, and so I was like, this is a call that I want to be a part of.
Well, welcome and welcome to the industry. It's actually quite a fun industry, especially if you enjoy business, because you get to learn all kinds of things about all kinds of businesses. Every transaction is different. Every industry is unique in its own way. And so, you get to benefit from learning if you like to learn. Ultimately what we're selling most of the time is cash flow at the end of the day. Buyers that are buying existing businesses are looking for cash flow from day one. So buyers buying existing businesses, they have a different mindset than maybe somebody who is looking to buy a new or start a new franchise unit, right?
Right.
So when somebody buys, like, for example, a Subway or, pick a franchise, right? They have to find a location. The franchisor helps them with that. They find the location. They have to do a build out. They're paying rent for probably 3 to 6 months before they can ever even open the doors. And so that's just a completely different mindset than the buyers that we typically work with. Most of the buyers we work with, like I said, they're looking for cash flow from day one. They want to walk into a profitable business that already has a customer base, that's already generating revenue. And, that's what they're looking for. So two very different target markets. I do know some business brokers that will sell existing businesses, and then they also do franchise brokerage. But those are two very different types of clients. So just keep that in mind if you want to.
Tanya, this is Ara. Just how about an existing franchise?
Existing franchises are often sold like more like an existing business. Where you run into problems with franchises is, like, for example, I don't know if you remember the Quiznos sub sandwiches.
Yeah.
So those guys were paying to start up a franchise in the LA market was somewhere around 300, $325. And then well, there were a number of them for sale on Biz Buy Sell for a while, selling at $40,000 and $60,000. And so they're like, well, we want to get our money out from the build out and everything else. But like I said, it's a different mindset. So the buyers looking for an existing business they don't care about the leasehold improvements. They don't care about the build out. That's why they're buying an existing business. They don't want to spend that money, right? So they don't value those things. They value the cash flow.
So if that is the case, how about the business does not have a cash flow? Are you taking that listing?
Well, I generally don't, because I don't have buyers that'll buy businesses that aren't generating cash flow. So unless they're doing 10 million or more in revenue, and then it's a turnaround situation. And I do know some buyers that will buy that. But if you have a small shop, a small retail or something that's doing 200,000 or 300,000 in revenue, but they're not making any profit, they're upside down, I don't have buyers for that. So I don't take those on, because it's just, now in the restaurant industry,
yes,
people who deal with restaurants, you can't sell those because they have assets in place.
Yes.
And they are saleable. You're generally going to sell those somewhere for, 30 to 75,000, something like that. So those, they are saleable. I don't like retail personally. So I like to do manufacturing, and I like professional service firms.
Yes. Thank you.
So, but yeah, you businesses that are not making money can be sold sometimes.
Yeah.
It just, there's just not a lot of buyers for them.
Yes.
And it depends on what industry they're in. So restaurants, yeah, they're probably more saleable than a lot of others.
Yes. They are in restaurant industry. Yes. Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. But Ara, to your point, let's say you have a UPS store or something like that, which is a franchise, but it's been in business for 5 or 6 years and now, or even 3 years, and now the seller wants to sell it. It's sold just like a regular business, or just like a regular existing business, except that you have additional contingencies because the buyer has to have franchisor approval. So the franchisor has to approve the buyer, or you can't.
Will the franchisor, let us sell it? Or, I mean, do they usually let business brokers be involved?
A lot of the franchises, yes, because they want to sell new franchises. They don't want to do franchise resales. So oftentimes they will let us sell them.
Yeah, okay. Okay, good to know. Thanks.
Just understand that the other thing that happens though is, you'll find a good buyer for the franchise you're trying to sell, and when they apply, or when they start talking to the franchisor is going to try and talk them into creating or establishing a new franchise unit elsewhere in a different location. So they'll try and convert them, but like I said, the mentality is the mindset. It's two different mindsets, and so the buyer that's looking at the existing franchise unit, it's going to be really hard to convert them over to opening something brand new with no cash flow, where they've got to spend money and pay rent and everything else for 3 to 6 months before ever opening doors. It's just a different mindset.
So isn't it a good idea to get an existing franchise? That way you don't have to do all that work? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of buyers that do that.
Okay. Okay, thanks.